Welcome. This is episode 5 of Role Playing Public Radio, RPPR. This is, of course, Ross Payton speaking to you, and with me, as always, is Tom.
Yeah, and Ross managed to avoid the announcer voice this time. He is grown as an artist.
Ah, yes, but the announcer is always near to my heart. All right.
Yeah, near to your heart, like an ulcer.
Ooh, that hurts, Tom.
Yeah, that really doesn't make any sense though. Ulcers are in the stomach.
Yeah. Well, they call it heartburn, don't they?
That's in the esophagus, Ross.
Really? I don't know anything about medicine.
Obviously, you don't.
All right. Anyways, because I am healthy as a horse.
And I watch Scrubs, so I know everything.
Oh, well, aren't you Mr. Special? Anyways, Christmas is coming. Of course, we're
and just in case the Christmas music, decorations, and hasn't clued you in yet.
Sales, Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
I worked on Black Friday, damn it.
Yeah. Although honestly, Cyber Monday, I think they could have come up with a better name. I think it sounds vaguely dirty. Cyber Monday. That sounds like That sounds like a sex crime. Like Tom Jones was arrested for his participation in Cyber Monday.
Or either that, or it sounds like one of those Sci-Fi Channel movies, which is just as pornographic. Really.
Yeah, well, yeah. Go, go, go. Anyways, that's a separate rant in itself. The reason I said go, 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 of course, is because every Sci-Fi Channel movie, if you watch them carefully, has at least one scene, and probably more like 50% of the movie
where
are
a military guy.
No, anyone.
Oh, anyone.
Yeah, anyone is telling other characters to move away from the monsters. This is usually, of course, go, 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 move, 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 run, ah! And
Ross would know because he worked on one.
Yes, actually, that's a good point, Tom. I worked on Larva, which is awful in so many ways, but it was shot here in Springfield, Missouri, and I was the location scout for it. So, yeah, take that.
It's fantastic.
Hollywood. That's another story. Anyways, the reason, of course, we brought up Christmas is because the whole point of Christmas is to celebrate the birth of Christ, Christian,
Oh, screw it, Ross. We all know what we love Christmas for.
It's about presents, which in gaming terms is called loot. So this episode is...
Out of game, too, I call it loot, too.
Yeah, well... Typically, when you think Christmas, you think presents. You don't call it loot. Loot is kind of dirty, kind of wrong. It's like something you get from a dead body, or from looting a city that you've burned and pillaged. So,
sigh.
Yes, good memories there. So, anyways, loot is fun. Loot is a part of gaming. Has been since the early days of Dungeons and Dragons and war games.
Well, why else would you delve into the deep, dank crypt of whatever evil monster thing?
Right.
It certainly isn't to rescue children.
Yeah, or to save the princess, or to stop the evil and save the kingdom. Yeah, that don't.
Yeah, screw all that.
That don't pay the bills. Don't put a +3 on my +2 sword.
Damn, Skippy, it don't.
Yeah. Anyways, and as great as loot is, it's not the point of the game.
Well, we're going to pause 1 second just to let that sink in a little bit.
It's not the point of the game. I know a lot of younger players or players who have been weaned on the electronic teat of video games, World of Warcraft and
or more
mods.
old school Diablo.
Yeah, Diablos have been raised to think that the whole point of the game is to get more powerful so you can get better loot, so you can become more powerful so you can get better loot, and so on and so forth.
So on and so forth. But, no one ever really wins those games.
Yeah. So what I want to say is the whole point of the game is to
have fun.
Have fun. All right, Tom.
Got it right?
Yes, you got it right.
Did I get it right?
Got it right in one.
Can I have a cookie?
Actually, I'm out of cookies.
You're out of loot then.
Yeah, I am. I'm a poor little adventurer. Loot is good. It's a good part of the game, but if you're playing solely to get loot, if that's your goal, you're missing out, because gaming is much more fun than just saying, "Oh, well, I got a new widget for my guy."
Right. Gaming is the incessant bickering between the group
and breaking down the rules of genre fiction and deconstructing them in a bold new postmodern. Okay, it's about screwing with other people,
and to a lesser extent, exploring the breathtaking defects in the people you game with.
Yeah, true. So, and of course, the problem is loot has its own problems in of itself. of course, the first problem is the envy, which I think is all too common when one player gets one magic item or one cyber high-tech item or whatever that turns out to be vastly more useful than anything else. That really unbalances the game, and most players would feel, well, what you would call envy, jealousy.
The person that gets the ring of breathing underwater right before you go on a leaky boat.
Yeah.
In a monster-infested ocean.
Yeah, that person, he's gonna. Everyone else is gonna want to be slitting his throat and looting his body, and
especially the knight with the full plate armor.
Yeah. As a side note, don't be a knight in full plate armor on a boat in the ocean.
Just don't.
Think about it. It's physics, which, not too good in D&D, but still.
Full plate armor is heavier than water.
Yeah. Good point, Tom.
Thank you.
So that's the first really thing you got to be aware of when you're running the game or playing a game is not to let one other player's shiny loot to distract or really.
Because that can lead to favoritism or the illusion of favoritism. Yeah. Which can be just as bad.
Yeah.
Because what the players perceive ends up being what's really going on.
Yeah. And that's not good. I know back in high school we were both. In the earlier days, or not in high school, but in the earlier days of our gaming misspent youth, both of us succumbed to using loot both as bribes and whatnot in games. And
I was horrible at that.
Yeah.
In fact, I really think it's time I should actually come clean in front of all of you people.
All right.
Is one of our gaming our gaming people from high school, I mentioned him, Tom Feller.
Yeah.
I milked him dry throughout high school.
Oh, you did?
Because he was one of the only people in our high school group that actually had a job.
Yeah.
And, of course, there's me, work then.
Yeah.
So, in the game we were running, I would offer him all kinds of pointless crap, but for exchange for actual real money. And granted, this started off small, like $1 for a small item, but when it became obvious that he pretty much go for anything. I was soon getting $10 for like a massive, death ray cannon that he never used.
Yeah, that's sort of one of the happy coincidences when one screw up in gaming is counteracted by another screw up in gaming. You have a wallflower player.
There you go.
Yeah, boy, I've made a critical failure on that.
I think we could just say doormat.
Yeah, doormat. Who gets all the goodies. So in that case, a weird kind of equilibrium still hangs in there because, he doesn't do anything with all his loot. And he feels better because his character is so much more awesome.
But then again, I never did have a dragon crap on him 6 times in a day.
Yeah. And I did the same thing, too. I, back in the old days of 3.0.
Wow.
Yeah. We're starting a new game, a new campaign. I think you were there. And everyone was making characters. One guy that I barely knew said, "Hey, can I be a psionic character? Can I be a psionicist?"
Oh shit, I remember this.
And I was like, I don't have the books, but you know what? If you buy me the book, then yeah, okay, sure, whatever. I was, of course, being sarcastic.
I know, I laughed.
Yeah. But the guy was like, all right, that's worth it to me. I will buy you this $20 psionics manual.
Well, he didn't say exactly that. In fact, I don't think he said a word.
Yeah, he just he just bought the book, gave it to me. He's like, all right.
I think he even asked, did you just buy this?
Yeah.
And he said, to which he replied, yes, I did.
Yes.
And you said, okay, you can be a psionic.
Yep, you could be a psionic character. And that campaign lasted all of one session.
But you still have that psionic book, don't you?
Yeah, it's still up there somewhere, 3.0, so it's,
it's useless now.
Useless, but hey, it helps the economy.
It's RP kindling right now.
Yeah, something like that. So that happens, and that's kind of a screw up. And you don't want real life loot to screw up the game either.
Games have enough drama as it is.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, then there's the obvious problem of game balancing, whether you give out too much loot and it's a Monty Hall campaign, or you give out too little loot and all the players,
it's like, well, gee, thank you, adventurers, for saving our entire kingdom.
Here's a rusty short sword.
Oh, and a bag of oxidized copper. Help yourself.
Yeah, oxidized. That's a nice way of putting it.
Yes, and at that point, like, what's the AC in this king?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, game mechanics kind of address that. I think, D&D obviously has its own, this item is worth so many gold coins, and that's pretty good. But it's...
Well, other games, it's not so obvious.
Yeah.
Like I've actually, like Cyberpunk, which I played a few times.
Yeah.
It's certain guns, you obviously, like, guns are, that's a lot harder to gauge what's going to be, useful in that game, but you give the player, the one player who gets a rail gun, is going to have an advantage. No matter what happens.
Well, it depends on the game, though. Like Cyberpunk, that's more or less. But in Call of Cthulhu, it's actually kind of tempting to give the players all the equipment they want. All the elephant guns.
Because it's very likely they're going to die.
Yeah, well,
or go mad.
No. The thing is, it gives them false confidence and say, oh yeah, sure, you can all have elephant guns, dynamite, and Tommy guns.
Well, unless of course they're veterans of either the game or the GM, like you, which if you're handing out all this stuff, like, oh, Jesus Christ, what are we going to run into this time?
Yeah, it's like, oh, here's a dark young...
so it either boosts false confidence or makes them extremely paranoid.
Yeah,
both
exactly.
of which are fun for you.
Yeah, it'd be like, hey, yeah, you fire the elephant gun.
And if you really want to be nice, you could just, give us Yithian, lightning guns.
Yeah, and then, yeah.
By the way, I will say, just a personal note, I know it's a tangent, but a personal note to me, if you are in Call of Cthulhu and do get a Yithian lightning gun, don't roll 00 on the roll. Just don't do that.
I have to point out, Tom, that was sort of my own interpretation. Now, just to point it out, that happened to Tom, and I gave him cancer. His character cancer, not him.
I lethal cancer. Luckily, I was torn to shreds by something before I could die of cancer.
Yeah.
And the thing that ate me ate cancer-ridden meat. And that, to me, is a victory.
I think that was a flying polyp, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a flying polyp. I think I killed 2 of them with said lightning gun.
Yeah, and then you rolled the 00. Honestly, it's there's nothing in the rules specifically that says if you roll 00 you get cancer.
Well, the gun leaks on you.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I don't even think there's that. I just sort of whatever, you get radioactive.
So all you GMs, if you want to be bastards, do that.
Well, it could be worse. It could be like it opens a dimensional rift, sucks you into a gate into, Carcosa, or the bottom of the ocean where you meet Cthulhu.
Or the city of Nakotis in 50 million years in the past.
There you go. Or it just blows up. Or it turns into antimatter. Campaign over.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. A 00 causes a miniature nuclear explosion.
All right. Then you get 100 of those guys, and you get a bunch of tribal fishermen, and I tell you, we can take down Cthulhu. Yeah.
Freaking tribal fishermen.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that story. Thank you.
Yeah. So, again, our point is, again, loot shouldn't be the whole point of the goddamn game. There's this sort of Pavlovian response, especially if you read about Blizzard and their design process, they made Diablo and World of Warcraft so that every action you did, every monster you kill, there would be this little, Pavlovian carrot, this little reward. Like, you get a couple of gold coins. You get this.
Is it kind of ridiculous to kill, like,
a boar?
A small boar and, like, a suit of plate mail armor pops out?
Another side note, I played World of Warcraft, and what the hell is with all the goddamn boars? There are hell boars. There are fell boars. There are demon boars. There are just all kinds of boars in the game.
It's boring.
It sucks. We don't need that many boars. We know you can only have much money for animation, for creating new models. But I mean, come on!
Like, oh yes, and just so you know, Hellgate London is pretty much just Diablo with guns.
Yeah.
Save your money.
So, it's tempting to do that, to give the characters rewards like that, but you don't have to give it loot. It could be something story-based. It could be something...
experience, obviously.
Well, that goes without saying. I mean, God, if you deprive the players of experience points or skill advances or whatever else, then Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you?
Although my friend Andy, who's since moved away, had this game book that says, treat experience as like a rare reward for your gamers. And... after reading that, he decided he would grant a ridiculous amount of experience from then on, and every time he did, he would just say "fuck you" to that game and flip it off in the air.
Well, that's good.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
But it's not just giving them the players rewards. You want to give them something. You want to have them have fun. And the whole point.
You want to run a game that they talk about after.
Yeah, that's the
goal.
point.
If you're the GM, that's the goal for you.
So focus more on the plot. Focus more on the story and the characters, what the PCs want.
The interaction.
I mean,
and the action scenes. Make sure those are good.
Well, it depends on the group. I mean, some groups are really into RP, role playing.
Yeah, well, I'm referring to our groups. So.
Yeah.
We like interacting, but we better have a chance to shoot some guns
or do something awesome and cool. And the thing is,
we're willing to go through. Well, we're willing to work to that. We're willing to go through boring stuff to get to it. I'm not saying that you're boring, Ross. But.
Right. The thing is, you should make loot whenever you do it relate to the game and help make your game more fun. In other words, let your loot give the players more options, have them have more abilities, let them do things they weren't able to do before. Or
let them use their abilities in ways you never thought of.
Right. It opens up new possibilities, like give them a carpet of flying, and then, hey, you have a whole lot of new options in the D&D game. They can go to new countries. They can try all these new different types of adventures. They can try things they've never done before.
Call it Cthulhu. Give them some dynamite.
Yeah. That's also a lot. Or give them a Mythos Tome, which is an adventure in of itself and a way to end the sanity of more than one player character.
Well... That goes without saying.
Yeah. So, that's what you should be looking for. You should be looking for the kind of loot that will make your game more interesting, more unique, and, make sure everyone gets involved with it. Everyone should be drooling over it. They should fight for it. They should, earn it as a reward, and then you should use it to give them new challenges.
And in D&D, give out some minor magical items too. They're items as well.
And there's all kinds of interesting things you can do with those animal tokens. I forgot what they're called. Wondrous figurines.
Yes.
I mean, there's just a boatload of things.
And I think one thing we used to love, just the random art objects.
Oh yeah.
Because we would actually
tobacco box.
Because two of us had strongholds in that game, and
they don't even need to cash it in.
And we'd go back and forth. Just all right, now which one would decorate which stronghold better?
Yeah, exactly.
And a couple players were like, well, aren't we just going to sell them? Like, no, these are cool art objects.
Pimp your stronghold.
Damn Skippy, that's what we do.
Hey, you can make a whole adventure out of that, where it's a contest between other players, things like that. The winning player gets, the kingdom or whatever. You know what I mean. That's what you should be focusing on. Don't worry too much on whether the loot's balanced. Just
don't ask what's in it for me all the time.
Yeah, just think about what's going to make the game cooler, what's going to make the game just blow everyone's minds.
What's going to make the game go that, the next day, like, oh, do you remember this? Oh.
Yeah.
Get your players to make that sound. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Or, ooh, that, or, their lamentations of the women.
Yeah, or Iggy Poo.
Yeah. No.
That's my happy noise.
Then you... I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. Anyways, so keep that in mind while you're running games during this holiday season. And
remember, loot's not fashion.
Loot is not fashion. It's not something just to make your character pretty like it is in World of Warcraft. It's something that makes the game awesome.
Yeah, it's not just running around with your trench coat and your katana.
Yeah,
and your Tommy gun in each hand.
Yeah, so. I think we pretty well covered it. But again, if you readers or listeners, I should say,
nice save there.
Yeah. If you have any problems with your game, please send us an email, send us a message on our MySpace or on the website. We'll be glad to talk it over with you.
Or not even a problem, just a story, moments that made you go, oh.
Yes. Gaming related though.
Yes.
Yeah. The little caveat there.
Yes.
That we're focused.
The night that you actually scored with a pretty chick who worked at the Barnes & Noble bookstore, I'm sure is a great moment for you.
Yeah.
But there are children
gaming.
present.
Yeah.
And we're trying to keep this show fucking clean.
Motherfucker.
I thought we should say that again, Ross.
Motherfucker. All right. So, we'll be back in a little bit with Tom and his letter, and of course, gaming anecdotes, shout-outs, and more. Back in a sec.
Dear Game Master Squiggy, Normally, my letters in RPPR are directed at famous characters and creatures from various RPGs. You might remember my little missive to Cthulhu, or my advice to evil overlords in D&D. I want to assure you that trend will continue. I have many more heartfelt letters in the can, from a plea to Emperor Prosek of Rifts to a very moving letter of thanks and praise to Father Dagon and Mother Hydra. So do stay tuned for those. Today, however, I wish to aim a letter at an actual personal acquaintance of mine. This person will simply be referred to as Squiggy. That is not his actual name, but rather a moniker he earned from his predilection to using the word Squiggy to represent everything from cool, awesome, and rad — yes, he still loves that word to this day — to weird, bizarre, and stupid. As there might be a chance to renew contact with him at some point in the future, I will keep his actual name out of it. Squiggy was the GM in the group I used to be a part of in the dark days after high school, while I worked at Walmart. This time period of my life I like to call the abandoned all hope years. I must have played with him for about 6 months, but in that time I learned of a horrific quirk he had that I have noticed in other people I have played with before. Squiggy loved to run sliders-like world-hopping games, and he loved to go into elaborate detail explaining the strange new worlds we would arrive in. He often got manic in his enthusiasm in describing alien and forbidding cities and landmarks. His ranting reminded me of the song Psychobilly Freakout from the Reverend Horton Heat. It was loud and fast and changed volume and pitch every few seconds. But one thing that I could never get over was his timid lack of ability to describe anything when we would go to an actual Earth city. His lack of knowledge of even the most basic of landmarks in cities like New York, London, and Los Angeles was quite painful. He couldn't tell you what city the Statue of Liberty resided in, or that Hollywood was in California. When it would come time to do some adventuring on Earth, the manic bundle of energy that was Squiggy transformed into a quiet, mumbling manservant who had been castrated for daring to speak to his master. I acknowledge that role-playing is a great deal about exploring strange places that are hard to imagine. If you are a virtuoso of explaining such places, then I salute you. You are a master of a skill that I only have some ability at. But if you plan a whole set of gaming sessions to take place in New York City, do everyone in the group a favor and read up a little bit on the city itself. It would certainly be in your best interest to at least learn the landmark that is on the state license plate before dropping a group of revved-up, violence-prone adventurers into the heart of the Big Apple. Besides being a big boost to your credibility as GM, which, by the way, Squiggy, you do need, don't you think that it would be good knowledge to let your players know the hardness and break difficulty of the Empire State Building? Rest assured, if we enter the city with power armor and 50-gigawatt particle beam cannons, we didn't come to get on the Regis and Kelly show.
And that was Tom's letter to Squiggy.
I know. If you're out there, man, you know, Squiggy, I got nothing to say.
You're an internet celebrity.
Bask in the praise. The only praise you will ever receive.
Of course. Anyways, next little part, shout-outs. For this episode, I'd like to give a shout-out to a video game I've been playing. Technically video game, it's really an online browser-based game. I don't know if that you'd still call them video games or not. But anyways, it's called Urban Dead. It's a turn-based zombie survival apocalyptic thingy.
Well, for those playing the home game, Ross loves zombies.
Yes. So you either start out as a zombie or as a survivor. If you die as a survivor, you become a zombie. Interestingly enough, zombies can become survivors. There's a revivification syringe that turns zombies into people.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, because it's just how the game's set up, Tom.
All right, fine.
Because survivors get guns. Okay.
Great.
Anyways, it's a simple little game, easy to pick up, easy to learn, and you only need to play for like 10 minutes a day because you only get 2 action points an hour, and you use them up very quickly. And you can only store up to 50 before you're done. What's great about this game is, I'm a member of somethingawful.com, the forums there. And we don't play games, we play Something Awful on other games. So we're the assholes who kill people, make fun of them, and loot their dead bodies. So that's what we're doing on Something Awful. We're ruining the game for other people.
Ross is Clockwork Joe on there, just in case anyone wants to know.
Yeah!
And I'm Lustrian, though I've never posted.
Yeah. Anyways, so if you're a member of Something Awful, come join us for Urban Dead in the private games server and forum. And join us. And we can make a lot of people leave the game in anger and frustration as we keep killing them again and again and again. And that's what the whole point of playing online is to make other people cry.
Brought a tear to my eye, Ross.
Anyways, you have a shout out, Tom?
Yes, I do, actually, to a White Wolf book that I recently purchased, Blood Dim Tides, which is all about White Wolf Undersea.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Rokia book, of course, but Blood Dim Tides is much more kind of the Lovecraft book of World of Darkness, and running a game using it right now, and it really spices things up in an otherwise kind of dull game, because as powerful as my players are in my White Wolf game, none of them are very adept at going into the ocean.
Ooh.
So I can...
Plus you have the whole Innsmouth look, Deep Ones, Dagon, Cthulhu.
Tentacled things, yes. I have all that stuff, and I likes that stuff a lot.
Yeah, I've looked through it. It's a neat book. It works for all the old World of Darkness, not just...
It's pretty heavy into Wraith, but it covers everything.
Yeah, so if you play any of the old school games for World of Darkness, give it a look. It'd be good to have at least for one adventure.
And if you got a bunch of vampires and werewolves that are just tearing through everything you throw at them, give that a read, because I guarantee you, as tough as they are in the cities or in the forests, there's not much they can do on the ocean.
Yeah. True enough. Anyways, so that's our shout outs, and of course our final segment is gaming anecdotes. We got a couple this time. We got some from listeners.
Nice save there, Ross.
Yeah, I just bad habit of mine. Anyways, our first, of course, we have a personal one. You see, a couple summers ago, I think it was 2005, I watched this series of movies about the Yakuza, the Japanese mafia, and I like them a lot.
It was Battle Without Honor or Humanity.
Battle Without Honor or Humanity by Kinji Fukusaku, better known for his work directing Battle Royale, which I won't explain here, but that's another great game, or a movie for gaming.
And for those, the Battle Without Honor or Humanity is also the music that's most famous in Kill Bill.
Yeah, the badass song that they play
when Oren's arriving at the House of Greed.
Yeah, it's the one you've heard 100 times. So anyways, I decided to run a Yakuza game, but I put a twist on it. It was a Call of Cthulhu Yakuza game set in post-World War II Hiroshima in the late 40s. And all the players are Yakuza gangsters. And, of course, I had ghosts and monsters and this whole plot, and they just...
But the thing is, we found it more interesting, the organized crime part of it.
And I decided to roll with that. I say, all right, you're gangsters. We're going to gangster it up. And
now, granted, we did use the supernatural for our own ends.
Yeah.
We used them to help us get,
And one of the players was killed by a ghost because he failed a lot of skill checks when he was trying to bury a body out in the woods.
It's pretty much, it was 6 straight skill checks, wasn't
Something like that. And he just couldn't get out of those woods, and that dead body had an angry spirit in it. The angry spirit wanted to eat his soul, and it did. It was fun.
Yummy.
I was like, everybody today was like, God damn, you just keep failing those checks. It was funny.
It was tragic, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Anyways, so the players were gangsters with their own little, Yakuza family.
Cornering the markets on booze, cigarettes.
Yeah. And what happened was there were a lot of foreigners in post-World War II Japan. A lot of foreign laborers had been brought over to work in the factories.
Well, all the Japanese men went to fight.
Right. A bunch of Koreans, a bunch of Chinese. This is historically accurate, or at least... based on history. I read some stuff on the Yakuza. Anyways, after World War II, they couldn't go home, these foreigners, because, their homes were bombed, and the people back home hated them for working for the Japanese, even though they were like slave laborers for the most part. So they formed their own gang. They turned to crime, and the Yakuza really hated these guys. They were called the Sango Kujin, I think.
But that's getting to what eventually happened, but also this game is a great example of loot influencing the game.
Yeah,
because we received a tip that someone knew the location of a downed Japanese Zero fighter plane.
Oh yeah,
and we found it and recovered the machine gun on it.
Yes, see, and that's an example of using loot to make the game more interesting. Because now that they had this machine gun, they were willing to take more chances because they had a goddamn machine gun,
and no one else did.
Yes,
which made us awesome.
Yes. So what did you do?
Despite what you may have seen in Kung Fu Hustle, not all the gangs had bunches of Tommy guns.
Yeah, they had pistols and lots of knives and a couple katanas, things like that. It was pretty low tech.
Well, it was in Japan. If some of the players didn't get katanas, they would have quit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes with the Yakuza game. Anyways, With the machine gun, you set it up in a building across from the Sangokujin headquarters.
Which was a tenement building.
Yeah, they had like 300 gangsters, I told them. The PCs had like 30. But they had a machine gun. You had a machine gun.
So we decided the odds were even.
Yes. So you set it up, you opened fire, you killed a whole lot of them.
We killed more than half of them.
Yeah, and you all died.
Heroically, beautifully died.
Yeah, the building you were in was on fire. All of you were gunned down, and
the cops were simply waiting to just mop up.
Yeah, and Sangokujin all around. All your NPC helpers were killed. Everyone, and you were the last one alive. I think you were on the roof of the building. You decided to jump off, katana in hand, to try and kill at least one more of the guys before you died yourself.
I don't recall if I did or not. But that was hardly really the point. Matter. That was hardly the point.
Jumping off, sword in hand, to kill another enemy.
This was like 7 floors?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, instantly fatal. So, and everybody loved it. It was a total player kill. Everybody had a great time.
We actually stuck around here for about an hour longer just to, can you believe that? Like, that sound. We made that a lot.
Yeah, so that's, you see, I mean, a game doesn't suck even if everyone dies in it. It just, if everyone agrees to it and everyone has fun, that's the point.
Mission accomplished.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
But hey, our characters did go down in history.
Yes, you turned the tide and let the Japanese gangsters control all the sin and corruption in Japan.
We did our part for our homeland.
For Japan.
Yes, right. As everyone knows, Ross, you can make anything sound Japanese. I was just putting an sound at the end of it.
Yes. Anyways, so
that's our little anecdote spiel.
And of course, we have some readers anecdotes. We have one from Mary H in Bangor, Maine. She's of course talking about the rail from her previous some railroading stuff she has to deal with. The railroading game quirk in our game doesn't have anything to do with what we play, but with a computer game one of our players played. Leanne was playing Temple of Elemental Evil, which is based on a D&D module, on the PC and married an NPC which joined her party. However, the NPC was useless and took a full share of her treasure. So doing what any unhappily married person would do, she took her spouse out to a field and killed him. Now when we play Earth Dawn Classic, which we've been playing this campaign for 4 years, and they encounter an NPC we don't want to deal with, we ask Leanne to take them out to a field. Like a Monty Python quote that's get mentioned almost every session. So, I think there's a lesson to be learned in that, Tom.
That's right. If you're going to kill someone, take them out to a field.
Especially if it's your spouse.
No, I mean, God, what else?
A field is a good place to kill someone. There's no cover. True.
And if you have a hole pre-dug.
Yeah.
Like they
That's convenient.
Like they mentioned in Casino.
Yeah.
If you're going to kill someone in the desert, as they said in that, just be sure to have the hole already dug.
That's a good idea. Anyway, she has another story for us. I have another story for your show. In Earth Dawn Classic, I play a Beastmaster. I have the ability to control animals and other types of creatures. We were in a cavern and came across a fast-moving stream. We thought it was too deep to cross, so I dominated a giant flying worm to carry the party across. Sounds cool.
You're right.
I got extra XP for having a creative solution to the situation. Then we find out that the stream was about 6 inches deep. So much for being creative and useful. Next time, I'll just send the troll over first.
Now, first of all, I don't care what they say. That is still cool.
Yeah.
And you still, I don't care if that stream was 6 millimeters deep. You deserve some kudos for that.
Yeah.
But as for she raises another valid point. You should have a troll to detect traps. There doesn't have to be a troll, like a small child,
an orphan, a peasant,
or the goblin on the stick.
Goblin on a stick.
Yes, just
10-foot pole. You strap a goblin to it, stick the 10-foot pole at anything, and the goblin will tell you what's going on that.
Pay him in turnips and maybe a couple of copper.
Yeah,
as long as they're shiny.
Yeah,
and just stick him out. Like, are there any traps there? And the great thing is, if there are traps, he doesn't even have to tell you.
Yeah,
you'll know.
Yeah, he has audio feedback.
And another great thing about goblins, there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
you can just get a new one.
Yeah, but what do you do in games without goblins?
Man,
question for the ages. Anyways, we got one last gaming anecdote. This is from Ethan Daw, one of our old school fans.
Ethan Daw.
Yes. Hi, Ross. I was listening to your latest episode, which is great, by the way, and I thought I'd send you a very short gaming story that seemed appropriate. Back in the mid-90s, I'd been away from RPGs for a few years. Some people from my awesome old gaming group had formed a new gaming group. We're playing on a regular basis. I was anxious to get back into a game and finally managed to make it to one of their games with the intention of continuing to play weekly. At this point, they were playing a system called Blood Shadows from West End Games. GM was one of the new group members, and everyone said the game was great, and the game he was running was great. Great. Yeah. So with the help of the other players, I got a character together in short order. All right. So far, so good.
That sounds like a winner.
Yeah. PCs were involved in some sort of Antarctic exploration or something. These exact details of which escapes me. For the entire evening of the game, the PCs were walking across this barren wasteland and occasionally encountering wooden stakes driven into the snow. We were all perplexed by these stakes. We dug under them and examined closely, looking for any clue. Hours of time passed. Real time. Literally, and we just couldn't figure this out. It was time to break for the night. The GM said, and I quote, "Explorers would make lines of stakes spaced across a large distance to help guide them to their food caches on return journeys. They would come across a stake and then follow the line on their compass back to the cache." Don't you guys know anything about Antarctic exploration? Wow.
Yeah.
And of course then it says I never went back to play again. But I mean, wow, what an asshat. I mean,
yeah.
Just the tone of the GM saying, "Oh, you didn't know about Antarctic exploration food caching practices? I mean, come on."
Yeah, I had a similar situation in a game where I think it was another Call of Cthulhu where we were playing members of a Coast Guard helicopter rescue team, and he just assumed that we knew all the procedures of rescuing someone at sea from a helicopter, like we'd all seen the movie The Guardian or something. And so he got annoyed when we asked questions like, wait, I'm jumping out of this helicopter? He's like, yes, that's how it's done. God,
don't you know everything about everything? I mean, you see, that is really, really lame. And plus, the whole game, it sounds really crappy. Like, you're stuck in this wasteland just checking stakes. Like, the GM can't figure out, hey, is this fun for me? Is this fun for them?
Well, I'm going to
assume... Who the fuck has fun with that?
I'm going to assume that some other things happen. At least...
Doesn't say anything
else.
Ethan,
I hope.
No, I think you pretty much... They spent the whole time looking at wooden stakes.
Kind of like you... It's like kind of like you and doing all that investigating and that Call of Cthulhu thing you did in Gen Con. Since you could,
the Delta Green game?
Yeah, where you spent basically this all the time investigating.
That was different though. That was still fun because we were trying different things, and it was just waiting for the timeline. This is where nothing is happening. The game master in that game, that different situation because we were the ones doing all this crap, and we didn't know that it was useless. And we had fun because we were trying all these different things. But in this, you're in a wasteland, middle of nowhere, looking at wooden stakes. How is that fun?
I would hope to think there are at least, some polar bears you could get for experience or something.
I don't know. Do you know anything about Blood Shadows? I mean,
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah,
but
obscure game.
Reading this story, I might have to look at it myself.
Yeah, sounds pretty crappy. We must avoid Blood Shadows.
Ethan Daw, you've actually convinced us to go look at another game.
All right, good for you. Anyways,
congratulations. We don't have a prize for you, but we'll say your name once more on this show. Ethan Daw.
Ethan Daw, yes.
That's right.
All right. Anyways, so those are gaming anecdotes. And again, if you have anything you'd like us to discuss in terms of a problem you've had, some sort of situation, or if you have any more gaming anecdotes, please let us know.
If they're good enough, we might just read them.
Yeah. Anyways.
For those that actually don't go to our site and read them yourself.
Yes, exactly.
You should do anyway.
Yeah.
Because, the more popular we are, the better.
The cooler you become, because you can say, we knew them back in the day, when
that's
they're
right. Like ultimate bragging rights.
Yes, exactly. Before they sold out,
Which we eventually will do,
yes.
Come on.
Sweet gaming sponsorship deals. That's what we're looking for. The fat RPG industry dollar where...
Yeah, which is how so many billionaires got their start.
Yeah, working for, writing game stuff for 3 cents a word or half a cent per word. Yeah. Great stuff. Anyways.
Beautiful.
So that's it for episode 5, Loot. Anyways, happy holidays, and we'll talk to you next time.
Later all.